One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Everybody's still singing along. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to SoulCall Sunday live from Columbus, Ohio. Let's hear everybody in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in with us this morning, this Memorial Day weekend, which is, what I'm starting to realize and remember, from my roots in Pittsburgh, when you live in Pittsburgh's not the Midwest, but when you live in the Midwest-ish, that time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is all about it, right? So wherever you are celebrating, if you're family or friends or here with us this morning, we welcome you as we explore the idea of the art of remembrance. Stay tuned is the name of the talk today. Stay tuned, the art of remembrance and the science of remembrance too. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more. But this morning, we like to call in the energy, talking about staying tuned. It means staying in tune with the energy of infinite source, infinite intelligence. Some call it God, Spirit, Goddess, the Godhead, whatever it is you call it. That's all it says. I don't care, you reach me by railway, whatever. But tuning into that and making sure our consciousness is ever in tune with that infinite cosmic intelligence, then we can be sure that every step we take is in divine alignment. And whatever crosses our path in the meantime is also of the infinite. People who cook with a lot of noise say it's a little hard, but just recognizing some things are volleyed into our awareness to help us to remember how powerful we are. So we're going to explore some of that today too, in divine remembrance. Well, one of the ways we do that is to co-create or participate with Source, with a practice of traditional Chinese medicine called Qigong. And so if you're in the room, I invite you to find a space as we welcome Sifu Helen Yi to walk us through, dance us through, move us through the practice of Qigong. You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Just kind of relax your mind, relax your body, relax your joints, and just feel that subtle energy within. Deep into the cellular areas, into the bone marrow. Just keep your mind focused here in this present moment. Here, go ahead and bend your wrist slightly, giving a little bit of tension, allowing some space between the armpits. Just holding your space here in the Guruji posture, gathering the chi energy of yin from the earth, imagining it with your mind's focus, flow that energy, collecting it into the body, through the labyrinth, into the palms, up into the arms, to the shoulders. Taking a deep breath in, and letting it out. Become like a magnet and draw that energy from your soles of your feet, the palms of your hands. And now, turn your palms upwards and float the arms up towards sky, drawing that chi, collecting it between the arms and the hands, allowing the sky yang energy, gathering it around, and now directing it directly into the byway point, where the central brain channel is. Allowing your mind to visualize the golden light of chi coming into the body, directing it with your hands, allowing the elbows to slightly bend, directing that chi, feel it palpating and glowing into the cellular structures and into the organs and into the systems of the body. into deep areas of the bones, into the fascia, loosening any areas of tension, pushing down any blockages, any stagnation, any impurities down into the earth. And relaxing the shoulders, coming all the way down. Now we're going to merge the yin and the yang energies, inhaling up as you bring your arms up, holding for 1 second, turning the palms down, and then exhaling for 4 seconds, a little longer than the inhale. Let's do that again. Inhaling, drawing up the yin, the water element, and exhaling the yang and fire element. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. Feel the tingling and that vibration rising to that higher frequency. Continue to carry this feeling all throughout the day and give thanks to your inner being. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. All right. And you just feel that tingling right beneath the surface of your skin. I'm going to say your cells, but it's like inside and tingling. Thank you so much. And I want to remind everybody that on Tuesday, May 31st, it'll be the last of this 3-part series of Qigong practice right here at AIAM with Helen Yi, 7 o'clock, from 7 to 8. And that'll be this Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, if you're able to join us. It's been packed. It's been amazing, too. I guess some of you have been there. So this morning, as we open up to the recognition that we are all connected, I invite you into a practice of meditation this morning. Just that staying in tune and allowing this first song that's going to play to just take you into a meditative state where you can open wide with the awareness that you are ever connected. So enjoy this peaceful video. Allow yourself to just relax and expand.
Rest your cheek on this drunken cheek. Let me forget the war and cruelty inside myself. You have opened the 7 doors of heaven. Now lay your hand upon my tightened heart. How many times do I have to hear? Heart, stop hunting and step into this net. I hold these silver coins in my hand. Pour me your wine of golden light. All that's left now to give is this illusion myself. Won't you give me at least a nickname that's real? How many times do I have to hear? Heart, stop stop hunting and step into this net. Only you can restore what you have broken. Held my broken head with your everlasting love. Heart, stop hunting and step into this net. Heart, stop hunting and step into this net. How many times do I have to hear? Heart, stop hunting and step into this net.
That. Oh, infinite divine beloved, we open to the awareness of our connection with Thee, the source of all love, which holds everything in its watchful eye, in its peaceful gaze, in its constant remembering. The divine signal of love is ever present, even in the distortion of what feels like being between stations sometimes. Help us to always remember Thou art just behind our restless thoughts. Thou art just behind the chaos. Thou art just behind our fear. Thou art just behind the challenge that might be present in our bodies. May we remember how to stay in tune. This weekend of divine remembrance, may we be ever listening for our soul's calling to be the most present station that programs our mind in service to the cosmic consciousness. Step by step, we wake up. Om, peace. Amen. Just been made aware there's a little bit of a clicking noise for the people listening. I apologize for that. We're trying to tweak it out if we can. If not, so sorry. But come in person next week. Fly in from wherever you are. So sorry about that. We're aware of it and we're working on it. May we get it dialed in. I'm not so sure what's happening. But talking about dialing in radio dials, right? So this weekend, as we know, tomorrow is Memorial Day, and it's a day of remembering fallen soldiers, the women and men who have fought to keep this country safe and free for all the various reasons. So what they started to do in the year 2000, which I thought was a beautiful practice, is tomorrow afternoon, whatever constitutes afternoon for wherever you are, if you're in the United States at 3 p.m., just one moment, pause, and give thanks to all those who have passed on, listening to what was brought forth in their path of service to our country and to each one of us as we get to experience life today and tomorrow. So at 3 o'clock tomorrow, just a moment of silence, because sometimes words in a profound situation like that, I don't know about you, I like words, not much to say, but allow your feeling to be put forth into consciousness. Allow yourself to feel gratitude and love for those men and women. So, and in speaking to that, there's a whole lot to be said about divine remembrance and how to remember. And one of my favorite teachers on remembrance is Rumi. So you know how much I love Rumi. And so I went back and I started to do a little research and found a couple of pearls of wisdom, I think, from studying with Kabir and Camille Palminsky, the Sufi sheikh and the sheikha of the Mevlevi order of Sufism in the West. Those are the people that we wrote some of the beautiful song you just heard, Heart, stop hunting and step into this net. It's like the infinite is always trying to lure us back. Like, don't look for it out here, is what it's saying. In the world of duality, don't get caught up in the world of duality and look for that happiness which is eternal inside. The more we look for it inside first, the more we'll find it outside. And the more we will attract it to us, like dialing in the radio frequency of what we would like most to experience in our lives. So people will ask me often, why did this thing happen to me? Why is this health challenge happening? And then we get into, sometimes some of us can get into a zone of fear around a physical challenge that's happening. And fear, you can be sure, is the thing that will get you between stations. It's like you're listening to a song. I remember being on the road a lot. This just happened a couple weeks ago. Listening to something I really wanted to hear. And then you get into that zone where you're out of the range of the station and you're right in between. And all of a sudden, they get to that part, Helen and I always laugh about, like, and the most important thing you must always remember is, like, oh, you know, and you try to find it later, you can't find it. But that's what it's like to be in fear. It's when we need to remember the most, it's the most difficult. Have you ever noticed that? When we really need it the most, it could be sometimes the most difficult time to stay tuned. So the talk today is stay tuned. I don't know if you remember back in the olden days of television and radio when they were first starting, you would hear some announcer, somebody that had a really perfect voice, would say, you know, stay tuned, boys and girls, for after this commercial break, there's such and such coming, like Bozo the Clown or something fun. So I think the infinite, if it could say things to us, like in 2-word phrases, one of the Ruby's, if you could distill everything Ruby ever said and wrote into 2 words, it would be wake up. And I think the other thing maybe the infinite would say to us is stay tuned. Stay tuned for more fun. Stay tuned for more of the richness that can be experienced on this physical plane of existence, or else why would we be here? But to remember how great you are, how strong you are, how powerful you are. I want you to take a moment to consider a time. I mean, I can think of many where I was experiencing incredible challenge, really hard stuff. Pick one for yourself, a time or two where the easiest thing to do is to get, what do I do? When I say, what do I do? It's implying that somehow I'm by myself. You know, I started to reframe that question to stay tuned to my best friend, the infinite. I said, what do we do now? Now what do we do? Remember that in commercials and on cartoons and things? Now what do we do? Or Abbott Costello or one of these people. If you get used to that cosmic we, the we of it instead of the what do I do? Why is this happening to me? How is this for me? Make that the question. There's something in here that is for me. Can't see it yet, certainly not experiencing it right now. But think about a time where you had to overcome some great obstacle to get to the reward of the awareness of, I'm in tune right now, and I've never felt so powerful as I do right now. And it's not like you're meeting something, you know, fire with fire, or you're not trying to combat something. That's not always what it is. What we're always trying to do I think that's the fallacy of the world, and it keeps us in fear. If we look at some of the things that we are not in control of, we were talking about this yesterday, last week when we were talking about, you know, the month of Thrive. This is the last of those months. In order to truly strive to thrive, to stay in tune, helps us to remember that we're not fighting some unseen force. When we allow ourselves to surrender to the larger mind, the larger consciousness, we find everything we need comes right to us. Doesn't mean that it's going to be instantly easier, but the things that we're being challenged with, we don't feel like we're doing it all by ourselves. Have you ever recognized that? You know, if you're in raging waters, I remember going whitewater rafting one time, and the thing they tell you when you're sitting on the side, anybody here gone whitewater rafting? Yeah, they tell you what? Try not to fall out of the boat. Number one, it's always good to be in the raft when you're whitewater rafting. It's not like water like popped out of the boat. And then they start to teach you how to, when you get to the rapids, you do this, You do that. Well, I was in a team, as soon as we hit the rapids, everybody like bailed with their oars and just they were all hanging on. And I'm the one, as you would imagine, most of you who know me can imagine this. I'm like, no, you gotta pedal that pedal. Boom, and I'm out. Next thing you know, I'm in the water and they want you to be going on your back, feet first, on my stomach, head first. Not just once, but twice. And I'm, of course, tumbling down. You don't know which end is up. If that's ever happened to you, and all I'm saying is, my God, like, which way is up? Like, in my mind, I'm going, oh no. And when I open my eyes, I could see my raft. There's a big rock behind me, and here come my raft mates. Boom, and they slam into me, and I'm slammed up against the rocks. And there's somebody standing on the side, like, pull her in. Like, somebody pull me. So they pull me back in. And I look at them all, and I say, we were supposed to paddle. Like, remember, we had a plan. Like, remember, tune in. When you hit the rapids, remember what they taught us. Same thing happened again. I start paddling. Everybody else just drops their oars, and they hang onto the side. I pop out of the boat again. So what's the lesson here? Hang on. Yeah. know who your raft mates are. Number one. Maybe you want to pick better raft mates, I'm thinking about a conscious global community, like the people that are with us here today. The dog's like, yeah, I don't like that story, it was terrifying. The sweet Bella's like, when do we get treats? I was told there will be treats. But just recognizing how to stay tuned. If we could all stay tuned. It was such a great little, like, micro, slice of life where that's what can happen sometimes. Maybe sometimes you're the only one who's asking everyone to stay tuned. We can do this. But sometimes we forget unless we practice. So when things are going well, we should double down on our practice. And it doesn't mean things are going well because something's about to happen. No. It just means, I have the luxury of time to go deeper in my meditation. I have the luxury of time, my body's well, my mind is clear, I'm not experiencing challenge. I'm going to focus more on my reservoir, with Qigong, how they always talk about putting the Qi in the body battery. It's time to be filled to overflowing. So it's not like we're forgetting these kinds of things. We're trying to remember at all times. And ultimately, it's heaven come down to earth. Like, this is heaven come down to earth. It doesn't get any better than this. So the heart, stop hunting. Stop looking for it out here. And step into this net of consciousness, which is your heart. So that the Sufis talk about the dervishes, and I've said this before, the dervish is a Turkish word which means threshold. And the Sufis, the religion of love, say that the threshold between worlds, of which we are all participating at all times, is the heart. And one of the ways they help to keep that remembrance that we are the dervish, the threshold between worlds, through our heart, is the door to the soul. One of the things they do is anytime you cross a threshold, you always step over it. You never step on a threshold because it's your heart. It's your heart. And it just, some simple little thing like that to help remember it's my heart. I'm remembering I am walking between worlds, staying ever balanced on my heart. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Ever notice when we start to meditate, we say, close your eyes. Practice closing your eyes to this world and tune in and stay tuned. Turn it off. As the music in the room was a little bit loud, we turn it down, right? If it's too loud, just turn it all off. Meditation. All the incoming, and allow to come forth the other side of your consciousness as you walk between the worlds in this beautiful planet Earth. So stay tuned to the soul's calling. And we're told, and I'm going to talk about this in the mystic tradition. In our tradition, we use the body to experience the presence of God. That's what Kabir says. We can teach the body what it feels like to surrender to the divine as our forehead touches the ground during prayer. This is something the body needs to tangibly experience, is the surrendering to the infinite's will. So when you see, if you are practicing, if you went to a mosque in Turkey or someplace where they do the salat, when your head, when you prostrate down and you put your forehead onto the ground, the reason they do that, it is the only time in our bodies when our heart is above our head. So it's surrendering my mind, and here's my heart. My heart is uppermost. So if you can think about those times where sometimes we bow our head, it's in reverence to the thing that knows everything and holds us all. There's a misnomer that people think that the opposite of love is fear. It's impossible, because there is nothing greater than love with which to get around. Love, it holds everything. Love is God, God is love. Love is the entire field of cosmic intelligence. Fear is just kind of like not being in tune, but it is not an equal and opposite. That is the only thing on this plane of existence that doesn't have an opposite, is love. If you can remember that, all things, including fear, are held in the arms of love. Therefore, if you tune into that, you will you'll become master of self and master all challenges which come. What do I mean by master? I mean, you'll be able to move, as Yogananda would say, you can stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. Doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're in tune with the thing that is caring about all of it and you at the same time, all at once. So fear distorts our remembrance. This is Kabir writing. One of our teachers in the early days of our path said that one thing that was not allowed of the dervish, which is us, is fear. We cannot afford to be defeated by our fears. We may experience some really rough times so that we can come to know this, that the rough times are a gift too. Everything can become a good. Missing the mark can lead to virtue, and fear can lead to something beyond fear. And the capital T truth is that everything ultimately is mercy. Everything. Sometimes we just can't get our minds around it, but get your heart into whatever it is you're experiencing and get with whatever comes our way. So because of that, I'll say, like, fear is the creation of humans. We're all not afraid of the same thing, right? I hate to even say the S word, but in the spring there are a lot of snakes around the yard. And when I first moved into the home I'm living in now, when we first got there, every spring, I didn't know this, there were a bunch of them in the window well of the house. And I would go to get the leaves that had accumulated over the autumn and the winter, and the rake flying, the bag flying, and we just like, what? There are a bunch of them down there. Call for help. Somebody helps scoop them out, drive them down to the river. I did that for 2 years. And then I realized I can't do this. It's going to happen every year. I know that it's going to happen now. And if I'm careful, I can do this myself. So I started doing it myself. So I had to overcome, that was a minor fear, of the S word. People don't even like to say the word. They just start wriggling in their chairs. So then what happens? I feel like I've overcome my fear of the snake until I go to open the garage door one day and there are 2 of them hanging from it's like a kid, They're just around. I live in a place where there are lots of them. But I just got myself calm. Like, okay, these aren't poisonous. They just happen to be where I needed to be. So you just have to kind of work around it. But if I freaked out, I wouldn't have been able to. So meditation, and I keep talking about meditation and contemplation practices and getting control of yourself. The more you practice bringing your mind back, how many of you find your mind wanders all over the place when you're trying to meditate? It's here, it's there, it's here. That's the practice, is bringing it back. It goes and you bring it back. It goes and you bring it back. I remember years ago having a car that the wheels would get out of balance all the time, and it would always pull to the right. Or you put the brakes on, pull to the right. So you get it back into balance. It's just not so much fun to keep the car on the road. But meditation is like keeping the cart of your consciousness on the road, so that when something like that happens, an acute situation, you know how to turn within, summon forth the courage and the strength to deal with the task at hand at the moment. That's the gift. That's the promise, but that's also the reality. And Kabir also said, Rumi says, for the lover, there are no misfortunes. Why for the lover there are no misfortunes? Because the lover is participating with love at all times. And there's an awareness and remembrance. The stay tuned part of us stays tuned with love. If we're always operating with that in uppermost in our minds, everything turns into, there's a blessing in here somewhere. I don't know what it is yet, but it's for me somehow. So there's a story, but we're just gonna talk about this too. Is that if you feel separate from God or Goddess, remember I said this once before, guess who moved? Because it's everywhere, not physically but mentally. So we shift our consciousness away from capital T truth and into the delusion of the material world. That's when we get caught up in it, and that's when it's a little challenging. So if you're feeling uneasy, if you're feeling sorry for yourself, or if you're feeling, those are all delusions caught to try to just trap you into thinking you're not strong enough, you're not good enough. Stop immediately. Do what you would do when a song comes on the radio or your Pandora that you just don't like. What do? You just switch it. Yeah, I don't like this story. Sometimes you can't switch it immediately like that, but you can begin in consciousness to get with the program you need to stay tuned to move through something that might take a little longer in time, space, continuum. But you can heal the body instantly, but on the physical plane, it might need a little time, space to catch up. This makes sense? It's like, well, we get to make up our minds, but tuning into the love. There's nothing opposite. How many of you have ever had the experience where you just had to run to the store for something really quickly, and you got into the store, and you grabbed a few other things, got home without the thing you went in there for in the first place? That happens, right? It's like that. What is your soul's calling? What did we come here to do, to be? And it doesn't have to be some great big thing that changes the world, but it does change the world, because if you come alive, it changes the world. It changes your perception of the world. It changes the vibration of the world. It lifts us all. But remembering what you came here for, don't forget, there's a really great story of King Janaka, and he was taking on a student in India. They're called Chelas, Chela. And this Chela came to this palace, and in his mind, this student is thinking, this is a wise and great master. Why does he live in such a fantastic palace? Shouldn't King Janaka be humble? I mean, aren't they supposed to be? When you think about the translation of the palace, it's this vast, gorgeous thing, many rooms, many things to see. So King Janaka is picking up on the Chela's mind and thoughts, and he gives him this challenge. He says, I will take you as a student and I will work with you, but first, you're curious about the palace, I want you to tour it. He said, and take these 2 lamps. They were oil lamps, filled to the brim. And he said, I want you to tour the entire palace without spilling a single drop of oil, and come back and tell me what you saw. So the Chela takes off, careful not to spill anything, gets through all of the rooms of the palace, and comes back, sets the candles, sets the lamps down, and he says, I have toured the whole palace and I didn't spill a drop. And King Janaka says, great, what did you see? He was so worried on not spilling the oil that he didn't get to see anything. So he said, okay, so you have not completed the task. I want you to tour the whole palace without spilling a drop of oil and tell me what you see. This time he gets the message, and careful not to spill anything, comes back and gives a full report with really incredible detail, what he experienced and what he saw. What's the point of the story? The oil is the energy of our beings, our life force, our consciousness. And the palace is the world. See the world, be in the world, but not of the world. And don't squander your peace, your energy, your life force. Don't spill the lamp of your peace. It is the light which keeps you ever in tune with the infinite. But see the world. Don't get caught up in it. And Jana is wisdom. So he was an incarnation of wisdom. This is what we teach the wise, to be in the world, but not of it. Sleep is all right, no sleep is all right. Food is all right, no food is all right. Not indefinitely, of course, but sometimes things just don't work out the way we expected or the way we planned. You get to a place and this isn't the right place or something like this. So just be able to go with the flow as best you can most of the time. Know when it's yours to do it. Just tune in. Like, okay, now what? Sometimes it gets a whole lot better when you do that instead of trying to force, But it's so funny. This is a true story. Many, many years ago, at an airport, there was a woman who was very upset because her flight had gotten canceled. And they were trying as best they could to accommodate everybody to get on the next flight. And she said, well, you're on standby, so wait over here. And so as the standby people were starting to be called up, this woman was on the attendant, trying to help her for a while. She probably, for any number of reasons, people get upset. But the funniest part of it was, the attendant said, I'm sorry, what was the last name? And she screamed, Weiner! Oh. Like, oh my God, that's so funny. It's funny because it was true. It is like, wow. Just a little play for the rest of us. It made the whole, so her little negative experience, she ended up getting on the flight, ended up being something so funny for the rest of us. Because, like, what a perfect name for an experience like that. So we weren't laughing at her, really. It was just the circumstance in this play is so funny sometimes. You couldn't write this stuff if you were trying. So it's trying to keep track of how is this forming? What's happening? Did you ever have a situation where something just wasn't working, or you didn't get out of the house on time, or the car broke down, or something happened, but it precluded you from being caught up in a whole mess of something else, maybe a pileup, or you hear people not getting on a plane, and you hear all these different things. Just always make the habit of, okay, something better is about to happen for me. Something greater is about to happen outside of the plan that I was trying to make. So remembering these things, stay tuned. Stay tuned. There's another saying by Yogananda which I love. In overcoming fears and staying tuned to love is, if you can remember that, danger and I were born together, and I am more dangerous than danger. Say that with me. Danger and I were born together. Say it after. Danger and I were born together.
Danger and I were born together.
And I am more dangerous than danger.
And I am more dangerous than danger.
Now say it and feel it. Like, danger and I were born together.
Danger and I were born together.
I am more dangerous than danger.
I am more dangerous than danger.
One more time. Danger and I were born together.
Danger and I were born together.
I am more dangerous than danger.
I am more dangerous than danger.
Yeah. Remember how powerful you are. So tune in, stay tuned. And remember too, when we pray, on Mondays we meditate, Monday's meditation from 8 to 9. And we send healing light out to others. And we're in the habit of lifting our eyes to the point between the eyebrows. When you pray from there, the word pray actually means to create. So when you say, I pray for you, realize that you're saying, I am creating for you with Source, a body that feels well, a consciousness that's strong, that you have enough food, that you have shelter. I pray. So when you say, this is my prayer, this is my creation, in my consciousness I'm creating. And then take the steps necessary to help and to do the best you can. So I always say at the end of each Sunday, I always end with, you are loved. And I wanted to offer a few ways to remember that you are loved, to help you to remind yourself and to stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to the rhythms of nature and look to the beauty of nature. Stay in tune to the rhythms. Stay tuned to pets. Pam, I'm so glad you brought little Bella. Stay tuned to pets. They know how to be unconditionally loving. Even cats, they got their own jam, but everybody laughs. It's like, yes, I've had cats. I know what I'm saying. Stay tuned to the music of your heart. If you're not quite sure how you feel, maybe just pause for a minute and tune in. Is it harmonious? Is it discordant? Like, what's going on inside of me right now? And if it doesn't feel, then just pause for a moment and just really imagine yourself on tuning into the station of cosmic love and the divine intelligence which loves me unconditionally. I'm tuning into the station of love. Stay tuned to the movements. Stay tuned to the dancing of the body. Stay tuned as you move. Allow yourself to feel, the energy you're moving against. It's not even like you're not against it. It's just feel the resistance of the subtle life force of energy. Feel the energy when you do a Qigong practice, and you can feel how wide the energy is between. Feel yourself feeling the subtle resistance of life force. That's what you're drawing in at all times. And you can't, it's not a commodity that is for sale. It just keeps creating itself. It's infinite. And then stay tuned to the infinite, the maker of all music, the dancer of all beings, the joy and the truth. And in the calm, concentrate your breath. So stay tuned to love. Stay tuned. Yeah. Thank you. And now we're going to listen to a really beautiful song. Oh, I want to read one more little quote. I'm going to be teaching this class in September. It's called The Holy Science. But in the conclusion of this entire book, which is an amazing, it covers all of it, and we'll work through it together over several weeks. Swami Sri Yukteswar says, love rules the court, the camp, the grove, the men and women below, the saints above. For love is heaven, and heaven is love. That's actually a poem by Sir Walter Scott. But these are the words of Yukteswar. He says, the power of love has been beautifully described by the poet in the stanza quoted above. It's been clearly demonstrated in the foregoing pages that love is God, in the pages of the book that we'll get to, not merely as the noblest sentiment of a poet, but as an aphorism of eternal capital T truth. To whatever religious creed a human may belong, and whatever may be their position in society, if they properly cultivate this ruling principle naturally implanted in their hearts, it is sure that they will be on the right path to save not just themselves, but others from wandering in this creation of Maya, of delusion. So just like tuning into love. Let love be your compass. Let love be your radio dial. Always look for that and follow. If you're not sure where to go, stay tuned for more joy, more fun. Thank you. And now, this song called Sacred Ground. Love is non-local. It's everywhere. So you don't have to, there might be places on the planet that we go to remind us, to reheart us, to jumpstart us. But remember that it doesn't matter where you are. Every place you can be is sacred ground. It is the place to start.
I planted the words you said. They blossomed in brilliant reds, reminders of what's ahead, the shape we might take. Uprooted my fears like weeds, fences I do not need. I walked with my tender feet over sacred ground, in the roots and stems, the blooms and ash of my backyard. I see how letting go of where we've been, I discover where we are. Beneath the layer of grass, the questions we dare to ask, the answers that help us pass to a place unknown. It's all about faith. about believing that there's more there for all of us, and how we love, 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 how we love. I planted the words you said, they blossomed in brilliant reds, reminders of what's ahead, the shape we might take. Uprooted my fears like weeds, the fences I do not need, walk with my tender feet over sacred ground. Every day, with every step, I am walking on sacred ground. Oh, every day, with every step, I am walking on sacred ground. Oh, on sacred ground. We are walking 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 on sacred ground, on sacred ground.
And tuning into the sacred, which is in, through, and as us. Oh, infinite divine beloved, help us to stay tuned to thy blessed presence. Make our week abundant with worthwhile accomplishments and with your constant presence and blessedness. Guide our thoughts, our speech, and our actions. Make your signal so strong that we can't miss it. May that be our prayer. Make it so simple that I can't miss it. Keep me ever in the light of truth. Help me to remember love even when I'm afraid. To know that nothing happens without your infinite gaze. You always have me. Even and especially when I don't understand. That's when you are closest. Help me to stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. May my heart sing the song of my soul. May it be pleasing and raise the vibration. Om Shanti, peace. Amen. So we thank you for joining us this morning, SoulCall. We thank you for allowing us to pray with you and for you. If there's something you're in need of prayer for, prayers at soulcallglobal.org. Remember, when we pray, we are creating for you and with you through that cosmic staying in tunedness of our beings. So let us pray with you and for you. Also, we thank you for your contributions. SoulCall is a 501c3, and we are doing great things in our community and globally. If you want to find out more, you can check out that stuff on the website. Well, we're going to be doing some things over the summer with youth, teaching meditation classes, offering kirtan meditations. So your contributions help us to make that possible. So no amount is too big or too small. We say thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to be starting to do 2 newsletters starting in probably July. No, maybe June. I think we might start it in June, actually. We want to start letting you know what's happening 2 different times. So you'll be getting the regular newsletter on Mondays. Then on Fridays, just a wrap up of what's happening over the weekend and what's to come. on Sunday mornings here. So just some people find it different ways. We're getting some feedback. We appreciate your thoughts, and we try to make adjustments accordingly. So thank you for looking in your emails and sharing your newsletters with your friends. And we appreciate that. Share us on social media if you like a talk or you like some of the music. Share us SoulCall Global on the YouTube channel. And coming up this week, Monday is Monday meditation, 8 to 9 p.m. And you can get the link at the website, soulcallglobal.org. Tuesday evening, we have right here at AIAM, Sifu Helen Yi is going to offer another Qigong class. If you missed the first two, it's okay. Come on anyway. You're going to learn something that you're going to be able to put into practice to help you stay tuned. So 7 o'clock, registration is on the website, but you can also just come and pay by cash, check, or credit card here. Also, we want to invite you to next Sunday, June 5th, is a very exciting time. Helen Yi published a book called I Belong Here. It's her journey through becoming a international Taekwondo world-class medalist and starting a business and what it was like to overcome Asian hate, being LGBTQ. It covers what else? Would you like some fries with that? Yeah. A little bit and a lot of everything. And so the book launch, the very exciting book launch, June 5th, right here. There are going to be some refreshments, Asian delicacies, and bring your friends. The book is fabulous, and it'll really help inspire you in subtle ways. And it's a fun read, and it's a deep read. So June 5th, and that's going to be from 11:30 to 1:30 right here at AIAM, right after the Sunday talk. And then following that, next Monday is the first Monday in June, and it's not Yoga with Natalia is back. So you can register online to get the link for that. And some very, very exciting news. Please save the date, June 11th, which is coming up. It's a Saturday from 2 to 4 at Marybrook at 123 Hyatt Road. Everyone is invited to just drop in, and around noon, I'll do a 15-minute presentation of an anniversary celebration for SoulCall, where we've been, where we are, where we're going. So bring friends, even if you can pop in for 10 or 15 minutes, please do it. The place is absolutely gorgeous, and we're going to be doing some things there more regularly. So I would like for you to see this space and get jazzed about how gorgeous it is. The energy is phenomenal. So that's Saturday, June 11th. Lots going on. Some community outreach going on too. We help pay some water bills again in Athens, and we're helping children get the things they need to supply after-school programs so that they have arts and crafts and things to do after school. So your donations are going to do these things. So we thank you, and we'll see you next time. And remember, wherever you are on the planet, want to say it with me? You are loved. Peace and blessings. Namaste.
One family, one people, one planet, one love.